Akiko mentioned that we believe in investing in leaders. One of the things that we've learned over the last 9 years since we started Acumen Fund is that capital is not enough, and that we need to build the human capacity to make these systems work. Our companies become very complex. We can talk, if you're interested in about an ambulance company that we invested in when there were 9 ambulances in India. This company recently has signed contracts with government for $79 million in new contracts, which means not only will they expand to more than 1,000 ambulances, but they need to hire 2,500 people over the next 3 years. Helping develop the management systems to make companies like this scale with all the complexities of working with government as well as private sector is an enormous challenge. And so 5 years ago, we started Acumen Fund Fellows to identify those extraordinary leaders around the world who not only could develop the technical skills of understanding how to build companies, but also this idea of moral imagination. Could they have the patience to really listen? Because that's what this work is really about, and build solutions with and for low-income people. That's probably the hardest thing of what it is that we do. Each year we take 10 people, as Ms. Matsunobu said, it is a difficult chore to find. We typically get 6,700 applications from 65 countries, and they come with lots of skills. When we bring them all together, not only do we introduce them to some of the best leaders in the world globally, and hear from them what they think the tough issues of our day are, but we take them through a curriculum that includes reading Aristotle and Plato and Confucius, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, the great philosophers who understand that this human journey is a journey of looking at not only the way that capital and the markets work, but social justice and how we build inclusive systems and economies. This past year, with the support of Tokyo Foundation, Satoko Okamoto joined the Acumen Fund Fellows Program, and it was really exciting to see a Japanese perspective along with a Ugandan and a Zimbabwean and a Lebanese and an American perspective coming together to really look at some of the tough issues that we deal with as a world. So Toko is working in an Ayurvedic system of hospitals that has been focusing on Kerala in southern India. And now she's transferring to Dharavi slum, which is the largest slum in India, to really, again, try to understand what it takes to market and reach out to some of the low-income slum dwellers in India to provide a traditional historic system of medicine in a way that they can access and that they will appreciate and afford. And our dream is to see a Japanese fellow because of this partnership every year for the next 5 years as we build this leadership cohort around the world. What's been, and this is a picture of Ayurseva, which is the slum, the clinic in the slum. And what's been so exciting to me has been to see these fellows who have graduated from our program now as the architects of social enterprise around the world. Javad Aslam in Pakistan is now creating the first for-profit affordable housing company for the poor in Pakistan, and has been so successful already with $1 million investment from Acumen Fund that he's been approached by government and are in negotiations again about how this private initiative might scale through government. Jocelyn Wyatt is working with the design company IDEO, looking at how not only does IDEO now design for the large-scale consumer companies, but how do you take those same principles to design for low-income people together? I honestly feel that there is no more important work, but also no more meaningful work for this generation, and certainly for the next generation, which is why we take our Fellows Program so seriously. And what's been exciting to me is to see major companies around the world also see this fellowship program and the individuals who go through it as real leaders who are building this future that we believe in together. I just want to end by going back to drip irrigation, because I think it really does underscore why I personally find this work so meaningful and so important. About a year ago, I asked Dr. Sono, who is the social entrepreneur who had taken the drip irrigation technology and brought it into Pakistan, if I could go with him to see see the drip in action. It was a 50-degree centigrade day, and the drive from Karachi to the Thar Desert, Nagar Parkar, right at the border of India and Pakistan, took about 8 hours. Our air conditioning wasn't working, and we were both exhausted. And I was really struck by how monochromatic the desert was. But the soul of the social entrepreneur always sees the world in color. And at one point I said to Dr. Sono, "It is so hot, and there are no colors." And he said, "Oh no, Jacqueline, you're not feeling the fresh air of springtime in the desert. I love it." And he took me out of the car, and we went to these little plants, and we actually indeed saw these brilliant, beautiful colors. And as we got further along to the edge of the desert, we saw this thin yellow line. And near that line was this man, Rajan, who stood 6'4", reminding me of my father, with hazel eyes and big, beautiful hands. And Rajan had 12 children and 50 grandchildren. And for 3 generations, no one in their family had ever gone to school because they were so poor that in the dry season they would have to leave their farm and work as day laborers for 50 or 100 yen a day. But this year was different because they had been able to afford a drip irrigation system. And that thin yellow line that we finally came to was the field of sunflowers that Rajan had growing 7 feet tall in the desert. And it was so extraordinary to me that for the first time in his life, not only did he not need to leave his family home, but he would have the opportunity to pay for his children to go to school. And I said to him, "Well, this is great, but will you educate your daughters and not just your sons?" And he said, "Of course I will, because I don't want my daughters discriminated against anymore." Always reminding me again how important dignity is to the essence of what it means to be human. One of my favorite quotes is from Martin Luther King, who says that love without power is anemic and sentimental, and that power without love is reckless and abusive. And my hope for our generation, for your generation, is that we really have the courage to recognize that for capitalism to survive and take the world into a place that it has the capacity to take us, it has got to integrate love and power. It has got to use the efficiencies that is so inherent in our system, and yet find ways to extend the purpose of capital, patient capital, with what it means to be human, so that every human being on the planet can have access to the goods and services they need to solve their problems. And it's not going to be an easy journey, and building the kinds of companies we build at Acumen Fund are very difficult. What it means is that we need to have the courage to avoid trite ideologies and petty assumptions, and really take on what it means to build a world that we imagine together, and understand that it will take each and every one of us. And I think that the Japanese young people have a particular place to play in this combined journey that we have together, because we have the resources, we have the imagination. This is a country of innovation, and the world has needed you like never before. So I look forward to your questions, I look forward to the conversation, I certainly look forward to talking to Professor Watanabe, and I thank you very much for your